Hello again, and welcome to the second video explaining AP Government, American Government and Politics in under 5 minutes. In this video, I will be explaining the fifth article of the Constitution in more detail than the previous one. Now, if you watch the previous video, I explained how each article relates to the relationship of the Constitution and federalism. And the fifth article was the only article that I included to connect to federalism through not only the national and state governments, but also through the people. And that is because the amendment process is a very broad process. It can go many different ways. And I'm going to explain each method. So the main thing to understand is when we look at the amendment process, the national government cannot amend the Constitution ultimately by itself, while the state governments can. And you can also include the people to amend the Constitution without the government. But the people cannot amend the Constitution without the government completely by themselves either. But keep in mind, the state governments can. So now that I've just gone over that, I'd like to let you go ahead and look at this. And the reason why I made a point of saying that the state governments can amend the Constitution completely by themselves while the national government can't, nor the people, is because if you look at the sixth article includes the National Supremacy Clause. And the sixth article is clearly favoring the national government. But when we look to the fifth article, when the states have the most leniency in this regard of amendment, we can see that the fifth article favors the states. So it's interesting how the Constitution does that. It gives one branch of our one level of our federal system more power in one article, but then restricts it in another and gives more power to the other one in that article. So that's just something interesting. In this one, the states are favored. In the sixth article, the national is favored at the expense of the states. So anyway, let's get on to the amendment process. It's a two-step process, okay? So the first step requires a 2/3 supermajority. Now you can either go through the national government, through the national legislature, Congress, where a resolution is passed in both houses of Congress by 2/3. Or you can have the state legislatures host a convention proposing an amendment in 2/3 of the states. But that amendment that's proposed in each state legislature does have to be the same or about the same, okay? So either have a resolution pass, in this case the resolution does have to be the same in each house, or the state legislatures can host a convention proposing the amendment in 2/3 of the states, okay? This is not the same as voting on the amendment, it's just proposing a convention to further talk about it. It's more of a resolution saying, we agree, we will consider it. Not until the second step does the state legislature have the option to actually vote on and pass the amendment, or in this case it would be a resolution. And this requires a 3/4 absolute majority. Okay? Sorry, you probably can't see. So this is the second step, and it requires a 3/4 absolute majority. Now in this case, the state legislatures can pass the resolution by a simple majority in each state legislature in 3/4 of the states, okay? The state legislatures do not have to pass the resolution by a 3/4 margin. That's difficult. It only has to pass by a simple majority, 50% plus 1, but in 3/4 of the states. That's where the 3/4 comes in. Or we can have the second step be achieved by the people conveying at constitutional conventions that adopt the amendment in 3/4 of the states. And the rules regarding how constitutional conventions are formed depend from state to state. But the point is, when a constitutional convention conveys and it decides to adopt the amendment, that has to happen in 3/4 of the states. So the process can either it doesn't have to go through all four of them. It has to go through one of step 1 and one of step 2. Thank you.